Hello everyone, my name is Monica Lynn James, your friendly neighborhood art teacher, and today I want to share with you some techniques for using the grid to create a very accurate, realistic portrait. But I also want to use technology and use selfies or digital cameras to capture an expressive portrait. Portraits are really drawings of faces, drawings of people we know, family members. We use them all throughout art history to remember the people we know and love, but also to capture a sense of their personality, who they were, what they were like, capture a sense of them in life. And really wonderful artwork, really fantastic works of art, that's what they do. That's why the Mona Lisa is so famous. It is not because of who she was. We actually don't know who Mona Lisa was. We're just now, through records, beginning to trace and find out the merchant who commissioned that portrait. But it's because of her distinctive smile, her sense of character and personality that come through the painting that really create a work of art. So we're going to use photography to capture a selfie, capture a sense of expression, emotion. And cameras are great for capturing that because they're very quick and fleeting. I just ran through a couple of facial expressions there. And the face is extremely expressive. As human beings, we are hardwired to connect with the eyes and the face of other people and to read their faces for symbols and cues of whether or not they're friendly or aggressive or helpful. So we read a lot from people's faces and their body language. So try to get that into the photo and maybe have some fun just taking a bunch of pictures. It took me a little while this morning to figure out exactly which picture to use and what emotion I wanted to convey. So that's a process too. And there's kind of the mental process of figuring things out and what you want to say, and then there's a physical process of actually making the work. So I'm going to switch over and show you how that process works with the grid and with the image. So I'll jump forward, and you can pause here if you need to and collect some images and grab some images, and we'll look at the next step together. Okay, so after you have a really good picture, you want to try to resize and print the image. It's much easier to work on a printed black and white image where you can measure and draw the grid. So I decided to go with a 6-inch by 6-inch image, and then I'm going to enlarge that to a 12 by 12-inch drawing. You can do the same or something similar. Basically, however you enlarge the width, you want to do the same to the height so that it's in the same proportion. So that if you use a 4 by 6-inch image, you could then draw a 8 by 12-inch drawing. And there's another video that I have on some of the grid measurements. But you can see I have my drawing paper and my printout, and I also have an H pencil to use for the grid so that it's very light and will erase. So I'm going to start by drawing the grid on the printed photograph. And the first thing that I will draw is the outside box. And my printed image is not exactly 6 by 6. So I am adding a little bit of extra space on the end where I will have to kind of extend my image a little bit. So you can kind of see how that will translate into the drawing a little bit. So you'll want to measure and make sure that your printer has printed the exact measurement that you think it is. So measure the outside box first, and measure from the outside edge of your paper and always use 2 points to make a line, to make a very straight line. So I've measured my 6 by 6 box, the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. And then I'm going to create a grid on top of the image. I am going to use a 2-inch by 2-inch grid. I am measuring along the edge of the box that I already created on the outside, and I'm measuring at 2 inches and 4 inches and making a really good mark on each corner, on the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. I'm then going to connect these dots using my ruler and a very light pressure on the pencil to create the grid. You can label your grid using A, B, C, D letters and numbers on the opposite edge. This is great if you have a more complex grid to help you keep track of where you are. So then we're going to create the corresponding box on our drawing paper, and this is going to be 12 by 12 inches. I have a big piece of drawing paper that is 18 by 24. So I'm first going to measure 3 inches from the edge, and you'll see I have several dots to connect and create a very straight line. I then measure from the top 2 inches, and again using several dots to give myself the straightest line possible. I'm also standing up and using my drafting table, but I'm standing up and looking down to help my measurements be more accurate, to help me see the ruler and measure very straight. Once I've created 2 of the edges, I can measure along those lines and measure my 12-inch box. Again, I connect my dots to create a nice straight line for the outside edge of my box. This drawing is twice the size of my printed photograph, so the grid will also be twice the size. So instead of a 2-inch grid, this is going to be a 4-inch grid. And here I'm measuring along the edge 4 inches, 8 inches, and then it ends at 12 inches. I measure all along all 4 of the lines, all 4 of the corners, measuring the 4-inch spacing and making a nice big dash so that I can connect these dots and create the grid on my final drawing paper. Here, you really want to use light lines and light pressure because you will erase this grid later. It's only here to help us create an accurate drawing of our image. And it's also really important to create your own reference images, capture your own photos, and not use images that you find on the internet. Okay, so I'm now ready to start. And I lay out my image to the left of me because I'm right-handed. If you are left-handed, you may want to reverse this position. And so I'm using a drafting board so that I can angle my drawing up at a 45-degree angle, and this will also help my accuracy. I'm switching to Vine charcoal and sketching the lines and using the boxes of the grid to help me line up the shapes. I'm breaking down the shapes of the face and the portrait into simple shapes. Eyes become rectangles. The hair is just a kind of rectangle. Noses definitely look like triangles. And even the shadows have shapes. The hands and the fingers, those just become rectangles and circles. So look for the simpler shapes that you see and start with big shapes, and as we move forward you will start to get more and more specific. Accuracy in realistic drawing is all about getting the measurements correct. So if you start out with your bigger measurements in the right place, the details of your drawing will be much more accurate. So I'm continuing on with the line drawing in vine charcoal, which is very, very soft. And charcoal is great for building value, building contrast really quickly. Overall, I would say this drawing took me about 2 hours from the grid process to the drawing, and I'm probably going to spend another hour at the end coming back to sharpen up the accuracy and take a second look and check the realism and the likeness that I'm capturing and fine-tuning those shapes and angles. Once I start to get pretty happy with the line drawing, I switch over to a charcoal pencil, which makes a much darker mark, leaves much more of a mark, much harder to erase. And I'm really refining things, moving things around, and starting to add value. I start to add value from really early on, so that I'm looking at value as shape. And as I move through the drawing, I continue to make fine-tuned adjustments, moving the shapes around. It's really difficult to capture a strange expression, and my son really went all out here for his photo shoot this morning. But it's extremely challenging, and I definitely would not recommend drawing hands if you are a beginner. Hands are very difficult, and we do need to practice hands. So I'm actually challenging myself here because I need to practice. So I want to definitely include those hands and make this a little more challenging for myself. But if you find yourself getting stuck, you may want to adjust things, tone it back a little bit, and maybe simplify the composition a little bit. I could even leave out the hands and just focus on the face. I've also left out the background completely. I decided that I really just want to focus on this wacky expression that he's making, almost like a nana nana boo boo thing that's happening, and the value and the shading. So as I'm moving through the drawing, you can also see that the grid started to disappear. Anytime I feel I've got the pieces in the right place, I start to erase the grid and really refine those areas of the drawing. And speaking of refinement, I think it's also important to take a break, come back, and take a look at the drawing with a fresh set of eyes, sometimes even the next day. And that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm actually going to come back and post the final drawing a little later. So thank you so much, and let me know if you have any questions. I hope that this really helps you to use the grid to create some fantastic portraits. Thank you.